Welcome to part 3 of building an insane asylum roller coaster in Planet Coaster. And in this episode, you really get to see the real meat of the copy and paste tool. This technique, I was really struggling to figure out how to do for quite some time. But now that I know how to do it, it saves me so much time, and it's probably a lot better for you guys when watching my videos, so you don't have to see me repeat the same thing over and over again. It looks a lot like a mess right now because I have to separate this part of the building while I do it and then copy and paste it again. But now that I discovered how to do it, it's really much more fun to make stuff, and probably to watch too. I couldn't find anywhere instructions on how to actually do this. I looked in the Planet Coaster forums, I looked on Reddit, I looked everywhere, I looked on the, searched Google, but maybe I didn't know how to actually ask the right question to get the response. Therefore, it was a struggle, and the only reason I worked out how to do it was by watching, I think everyone knows Silveret's great Planet Coaster builder. If you haven't seen his work, which I'm surprised if you haven't, because everyone's seen his stuff, it's fantastic. I was watching his videos when he made this sort of Disney-like castle. I think it's called Elfland or something. It was something Dutch, but I wasn't quite sure. And I literally had to watch how he did it and sort of work it out. What I realized is that he moved everything separately it made a huge area and moved it there. I don't know how to explain it. It's very difficult to explain. And then copied and pasted it using Control D. The thing that I couldn't work out from the videos or from anywhere, I had to actually figure it out for myself, was how to repeat the objects again and again. And what I worked out is that I have to click on the object I want to repeat, and then press T so it has the directions that you can move it, and then click on the icon of that object again in the toolbar, and then I move it, and then it would have a new piece that I can move into exactly the position I wanted. I don't know if I am explaining this correctly, but that's how I worked out how to do it. And if you guys are struggling with this yourself and want to know how people make these great copy and paste things, I can try and make a tutorial. Well, let me know if you think that's what you want. Or maybe you're like, oh, but we knew about this all along, and I was like, oh, okay. So let me know if I should make a tutorial, because it's really been quite helpful for me, and it's probably going to be a lot more interesting to watch me build stuff, because you don't have to watch me repeat stuff again and again. I mean, you can see here I'm still sort of unsure how to use it entirely. What I realized is it has to be on the same, everything that, like the tower on top of the building has to be on the same trajectory. It's really difficult to explain, but that's basically it. And it's, it really looks a lot better, and the repetition is exactly the same. It's much more difficult to build exactly the same things again and again, and in these old haunted asylum buildings, they repeat a lot of the stuff again and again, a lot of the same design features, and that's why it's incredibly important for this build. But I've also been using it in a lot of my other builds as well, basically, because now I can literally build stuff in half the time, and it saves a lot of time, and it's a lot more interesting to watch, hopefully. Let me know what you guys think of this technique, if you guys have known all along how to use it or not. I mean, I've seen many Planet Coaster builders actually use it already. I think Ruri Rentcamel, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but he's been using it from the very beginning, and he makes some great stuff. I think you should check it out. It's called one of the things that I remember very clearly him using this technique was the Space Mountain build, which was very inspiring to me. So I'm glad I finally figured out how to do these techniques, and I thought it was long enough that I didn't figure it out, but I was kind of embarrassed not being able to do it, because I really searched for high and low. I didn't know if I was asking the right questions. I couldn't find anything on the forums, and I couldn't find anything. Maybe there are instructions on how to do this, but I literally had to do it from trial and error. and I'm glad I did it now because it was causing me a lot of frustration. But now that that's over, I've got a new sense of confidence in my builds, and I'm much happier as a result. So what will you see me build next in this build? Well, I still haven't started working on the 80s extension, this sort of, modern extension to the hospital. I want to create sort of some parts which are like, some holes in the ground with the kraken tentacles coming out. I've got ideas for making giant spiders out of objects or even out of terraforming, which leads me on to making my next project, which I'm working on at the same time. So one of you guys requested a Jurassic Park gate, and I thought, yeah, why not? A lot of people are making stuff from movies, and it's quite exciting to watch. And so I'm going to do that. I've also thought about practicing with the terraforming. I want to make a T-Rex from the terraforming, and that will probably help me incorporate stuff to make things like giant spiders, giant scorpions. I want to make hospital beds with skeletons lying in them. Maybe some parts of the building are on fire. I have to think of the story behind this place. Maybe this place burnt down and all the people, all the patients died because someone burnt down the building, and that's why it's haunted, and it's still partially burnt down, or so. These kind of things. I don't know. But the story behind this place is that a lot of people suffered here, and you can still hear the moans and screams echoing through the chambers. That's basically what I'm going for. But of course, if you guys have any ideas that you want to incorporate into this build, don't hesitate to tell me or to suggest anything. I really appreciate suggestions, and it really makes me feel that you guys are involved, and it's very encouraging because if no one really watched this, there would be no point because it's all about trying to make it as fun and as interesting for you guys to watch as possible. So I think I've talked for long enough, and I know I'll leave it there, and I will see you in the next part, which will be the extension to this building and starting to work on the rest of the ride. It's quite a long ride, so I can't imagine myself being finished for quite some time. That's why I'm working on several other projects in Planet Coaster at the same time. Just so it means I have a lot of stuff to show, and a lot of videos will keep coming out in good time. So I will leave it there, and I will see you in part 4, I think, and hopefully most of the facade will be done by that point. I think there will be another part. Next part will have some more of the main parts of the building being done, and then I'll move on to the extension. So I will leave it there, and I'll see you in part 4.
Wow, you must be awesome because you watched all the video, and if you want to see more, click in one of these boxes, and if you want to subscribe, do that, and I'll see you soon.